Hi, friends. I'm here to read another story. It's from this Spider-Man book. Okay, and the story's called. Let me see. Science versus Science. Okay, so let's see what Spider-Man does this time. Okay, right here, Science versus Science. Peter had stayed up all night prepping his science project, a steam powered super potato launcher for the school science fair. He was sure he'd finally get the recognition he craved. Peter was exhausted, hardly able to open his eyes, but Aunt May spurred him on and took him to school. While setting up for his project, Peter looked at the other students' work. He was really impressed with Cameron's electrosphere, Ben's erupting volcano, and Nate's combustible chemistry set. It wasn't going to be an easy win for any of them. Peter was introduced to the judges, one of whom was Dr. Kirk Connors, a famous professor who had paved the way for major breakthroughs in science. But Dr. Connors was best known for his great scientific works, but because one of his experiments went wrong and turned him into the reptilian creature called the lizard. Fortunately, Dr. Connors was cured. He wouldn't change into the lizard again, right? As the judges examined each project, one student's experiment went haywire, releasing a strange green gas. Peter tried to help, but he was already too late. Dr. Connors was transforming. Without a moment to lose, Peter ducked behind some solar panels. After a quick change, he leapt out as Spider-Man. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? Spider-Man called out to the crowd. Please exit in an orderly fashion. We're about to have a showdown. Thank you. As Dr. Connors fought the transformation, the crowd fled the building. He thought he had cured himself of the monster inside, but something in that green gas had unleashed the lizard. So here's the lizard, guys, and there's Spider-Man. Paging Dr. Connors, paging Dr. Connors. Can you stop yourself from changing? Just calm down now, Spidey said, easing down his voice. Think of all the great things you've done, the discoveries in science and genetics, all the hurt people you've helped. Remember, you're a good person. Spidey watched the scientist he admired struggle against the monster inside him, the monster trying to get out. No one ever sees the good I've done, Spider Man. Dr. Connors grunted back. They only see the horror I can unleash. Spidey wanted to help, but the transformation, once triggered, couldn't be stopped. And where Dr. Connors once stood, there now stood the lizard. Spider-Man clenched his fists and prepared for the fight that was sure to come. With the giant reptile barreling toward him, leapt into the air, spinning his webs as fast as he could. He wasn't going to let the lizard trash all the science projects. His webs slung from his wrists, each shot finding its target and preventing the projects from shattering to the ground. The lizard roared, while the green reptile's mouth was wide open. Spidey spun a web right around those powerful jaws and pulled them shut. Put a sock in it, Lizzie. Struggling to rip the web off his face, the lizard staggered back a step and shredded his jaws free. You barely slowed me down, he hissed. Why must you always get in my way? Gee, let me think about that, Spidey said. Oh, I know. It's because you're always trying to ruin everybody's day. Spider Man dropped back down to the gym floor. Why don't we just skip the whole fighting part and get to you turning yourself in? The lizard lunged at the webbed hero. I'll take that as a no, Spider-Man said as he slid between the lizard's legs. As Spidey popped up behind the lizard, an idea came to him. The lizard's thick skin made him too tough to defeat by pushing him around. He wouldn't feel a thing. It's science that turned you into the lizard. So let's fight science with science, Spidey said. Spider-Man used the projects around him. He swung Cameron's electrosphere at the lizard. This should give you a good jolt, Spidey cried. Lightning lashed out from the electrosphere and struck his opponent. The lizard growled at the wall crawler as his massive scaly green tail swatted Ben's volcano. Alright, Spider-Man. Alright, Spider-Man said. He slung a couple more webs, catching Ben's project at the same time, grabbing Peter's potato launcher and hurling Nate's combustible chemistry set through the air, raining flames down on the lizard. Let's see how you like playing with fire. Spider-Man realized that he needed to outsmart his adversary, not just throw things at him. The lizard put out the flames on his tough skin, hardly even noticing the heat. Is that the best you can do, Spider-Man? Not by a long shot, Liz. The web slinger triggered Ben's volcano to erupt and aimed it directly in the lizard's eyes. While his ornery opponent was temporarily blinded, Spidey grabbed the science project that would put the lizard down for the count. Peter Parker's potato launcher. Boof, boof. Spidey launched a couple of sweet potatoes, but they weren't strong enough. Spidey had a tough decision to make. I'll miss you, my dear potato launcher, he said. He took his invention by the barrel and smashed the lizard over the head with it. The lizard fell to the ground, but Peter was more concerned about his broken project. Now there's no way he'd win the science fair. Spider-Man put everyone's science projects back in place while he waited for the lizard to revert to human form. When he did, Dr. Connors was so sorry for what had happened. Will I never be free of this terrible curse? He asked Spider-Man. Spidey considered the question. I don't think you're responsible for what the lizard does, Dr. Connors, he said. You'll figure out how to get rid of the lizard someday, and then you'll be remembered for all of your scientific work. That would be nice, Spider-Man. Dr. Connors smiled a little. Thank goodness no one was hurt, not even the science projects. Well, one project broke, Spider-Man mumbled. It was an invention. It was that invention that stopped the lizard, and I'm grateful for that, Dr. Connors replied. The police and a group of doctors rushed into the auditorium to take Dr. Connors away and help him. Peter sighed. Well, I guess I'm off to make potato salad. The end.